Our regular Insight viewers recognize it right away as a valuable resource in planning and sustaining your retirement. She's Heather Foster, investment advisor and fiduciary. Today we want to talk about some legislation changes and what that means.
Yeah. Lots of changes out there. So obviously we all know we're seeing complete changes coming through the pike. A lot of conversations about tax law changes in the system, still dealing with stimulus things coming out. So I think it just kind of puts people on edge, Charity, anytime there's change. But legislation changes is something that always needs to be considered. There are no guarantees, right? What is law today may not be law tomorrow. Whether it's state or federal, things are always changing. So we have to, when we do planning or financial planning, we have to look at everything, whether we're doing tax strategizing. Again, we all know tax code can change. It's set to revert. It's already set to change again. Whether it's nursing home planning, where we currently in Indiana, we're one of the states that we can do some sort of protection planning to help people who may be going through a nursing home spend down so they don't have to use all their money. There's lots of things. Healthcare, I mean, that's something we've seen all over the place as far as the Affordable Health Care Act, or otherwise known as Obamacare, changes in that where you had to have it, now you don't, now you might have to again. There's always these legislation changes. So money and investments, you know, that's one side of things. We talk about that a lot. Throwing your money in the stock market, that's one piece of this. But when you're actually talking about holistic financial planning, legislation risk and how it will affect your money long term is something that's critical for people to pay attention to, making sure they've got their legal estate set up correctly, their tax planning set up correctly, their investment set up correctly. It can cost people a lot more money if they don't look at legislation and say that, hey, this is a moving target. It's not something where I can set up a plan and not look at it for 20 years. Things change. There's been a lot of changes in our legal system, obviously. And so you have to be consistently undergoing evaluations on everything you have to make sure you're under current law. Or if you find out that a law is going to change, how will it affect your overall estate, your planning, your financial plan, as far as retirement and all those other things. So.
And when you hear about legislation change, you may think, oh, that doesn't affect my retirement because it's legislation change involving health care.
Right.
But that's why when you have that holistic approach, which is so important, you have to think about how that does affect everything.
Everything affects everything else. If anyone, you know, who's over 65, you know, a lot of people go, what's IRMA? IRMA's a nice little, we call it a penalty, but it's not technically a penalty. It's additional premium for Medicare if you make too much money. Those are legislation changes. Those are things that maybe weren't always there, but then they came out and said, hey, if you make a little bit more money than what we think you should, you're going to have to pay extra premium on your Medicare. So that's an example of a legislation issue with the healthcare that people think, hey, once I'm retired, it really won't affect me anymore. But there's always things that affect us all throughout the years. Every year as they pull down new things, new changes, it's a trickle effect. Everything really does affect each other.
And it just goes back to you ought to be having continual conversations with your financial advisor.
Yes, being in consistent communication with the financial advisor is key. You know, if it's a situation where their person's only talking to them once a year, once or every couple years, you're not really getting the information that you need to stay on top of the investments, the legal planning, and everything else.
Well, we see you here every week or every other week and get our advice from you. We're gonna have to go back online and check up with you for a little while because
going to take a break for a little bit on the show.
You've gotten too busy.
I am, I mean, it's a good problem to have.
Insight works.
Insight works, yeah. You know, I've loved and enjoyed coming on this show and educating people. I've tried to make all these segments very educational in nature. I love it. I'm sure I'll come back sometimes. But for now, we're going to take a little bit of a break just because, I'm quite busy at our office and we're kind of getting close to capacity, going to kind of move towards referral only type of clients. So for now anyways, I'm kind of saying adieu.
Yes, she's going to continue to grow, and as she grows, then she'll be back. Once she just needs.
I need some additional financial advisors.
Yes. So let's get some smart financial advisors to come and work with Heather, and then we will see her again. Well, Foster Financial is working hard for you, and when you need help, all you have to do is give them a call, 234-2200. We'll be right back.